Rachel, today was expected to be emotional for the family, but it was also emotional for law enforcement who worked this case for over a decade. Eric and Rachel, there's a lot more questions than there are answers right now. That goes for us and that goes for neighbors who live on Buddy Lane.
We don't know what led up to this shooting. We're still asking questions related to that, but officers did confirm to me around 1 this afternoon that they spoke with everyone they believe was involved in this shooting. Firebird recovery was only in this location for a little over a month. As you can see, this door is now locked. A zoning violation pushed the nonprofit out. But now Director Ajne Powell can pull open this door in her new Horry County location. Scrolling down, we've got more photos from the Socastee area. This is all on our website, WMBFnews.com. The solicitor told the judge that all of Alston's charges happened in a mere 20 seconds. And again, the Human Rights Commission meeting is set to begin at about 4:30 this afternoon, so in less than half an hour now.
And we've asked Horry County officials over and over again this afternoon into this evening for additional information, for an on-camera interview, and we've been denied repeatedly. We still don't know who was involved in this situation or what led up to it, but we're continuing to ask those questions. Live tonight in Horry County, Ashley Bowles, WMBF News.
Something smells good.
Each dash, slice, and pinch
Okay, I think I'm almost done.
has a purpose in the King family kitchen, just like each member of the King family.
We are happy, intense, passionate,
And it changes quickly.
but we love each other.
Yes, that's what's important.
There are many recipes for life, but the King's recipe
Is everybody here okay with garlic?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
includes a lot of garlic in the food and a lot of love in their lives.
I knew that it was going to work out the way it was supposed to, and there was no sense in trying to worry about something that I can't control.
Matt King is the head of the Columbia-based family, like the main ingredient in a dish.
I first got diagnosed with GPA vasculitis, which was an attack on my lungs and kidney, and they treated that with chemo, and that's what ended up killing my kidney the rest of the way through.
Matt did not want to go on dialysis,
I watched my dad go through it, and he struggled.
meaning his only option was to wait for a kidney transplant. The average wait time for a kidney in South Carolina is 3 to 5 years.
I thought I could die, and I wasn't going to put my family through that.
Oh, he was so stressed out about it. I didn't know he was that stressed out about it, but then through the grapevine of talking to other people, then I find out my parents were so stressed about it and they were so worried that it was going to be more detrimental to me than it actually was.
If Matt is like the main ingredient, daughter Jessica is like the spice that makes the recipe just right.
Yeah.
She's the candidate to give a kidney. Like, it's so crazy. For 23 years, she's our fruits and vegetables and nuts. I'm not going to eat that bread. It'll do this to me, you know. And for the longest time, she's just been different than we were bad eaters.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
she was perfect for the role.
But she wasn't perfect for the role of being Matt's donor. Jessica wasn't a match.
I was relieved. I didn't want my daughter to give me her kidney. I know I couldn't have stopped her, but I felt guilty.
Matt's direct match instead was someone he never met before, over 150 miles away in Myrtle Beach.
We prayed for a godly person and, healthy, and that it's in his hands, that we know that this is being driven by him.
We specifically asked God for specific things, and George was everything we asked for.
It just
everything.
unfolded.
Definitely, it's different to be part of the story in this context. Usually it's more of how am I going to bring the story together and working with the reporter, and so now it's really cool because it's like sharing my story.
On a humid August day in Charleston, outside the hospital where he would give a vital organ a few weeks later, George Hansen began sharing his story, which started 2 years prior.
The inspiration to donate originally came from when I was in Florence and I was working and I was driving and I was at a stoplight and there was a sign, a sticker on the back of a car that said, so-and-so is in need of a kidney. If you're interested, call this number. And so I called the number. And that's how everything got started.
After midnight, you can't eat any solid food, but we do want you to drink a special pre-op drink, and I put that here in this little little gift bag I'm going to give you.
George didn't know Matt when he spent a long day at the hospital, going from appointment to appointment, from giving blood to getting x-rays and learning the ins and outs of living kidney donation.
Thank you so much for doing this.
George just wanted to help. George was like the missing ingredient the King's recipe needed.
It's not just the patient, it's not just the individual receiving the kidney. They don't live in a vacuum, so they are also involved in other people's lives. So it really is a domino and a ripple effect. So by changing one person's life, you're changing a whole family potentially. You're changing the course of history for, for an entire generation.
But neither George nor the King family knew that the chain wouldn't end with them. It would also help Nicholas Bland.
Me, my mom, and my brother all had kidney failure. I was put on dialysis about 2 years ago.
The 26-year-old from Greenville was used to being sick. Jessica wasn't.
When I wasn't a match with my dad and they gave me the option to do the chain living donor program, I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first because I was really disappointed that I wasn't a direct match for my dad. After thinking about it, and I realized there was someone else out there who was just as sick as my dad and who was struggling and their life wasn't what they wanted it to be, and I just felt at complete peace about giving my kidney.
Ready to go.
So on September 7th, the surgeries happened. George gave his kidney to Matt. Jessica gave her kidney to Nicholas.
It's one thing to have Matt going through this life huge thing, but then to have a child choose to then walk through this life-changing thing
At the same time.
at the same time made it that much harder because now it's both my husband and my daughter.
With wife Jess and brother Camden there as caretakers, like the utensils needed for the meal, the family had a successful day and soon grew by 2.
And then to have another kid that gets to be a part of our life, Nick, I feel like he's mine, because he has a part of my daughter. It's rich.
When I woke up, I don't know if did you feel a difference?
But even the richest meals need some sweet moments.
So we're all in hospital gowns. I'm like, where's the other person? Where's the other? And they're like, him. And George's just sitting there, just like in full clothes, like ready to go home. And we're like, okay, superhero George. Like, sorry for holding you up, man.
I was hunched over like this, and George is just strutting down the hallway like, I'm ready to meet all of you. We were like, what in the world?
I'm just so thankful that everything went as smooth as it did and that we're here today being able to laugh about it and talk about it and just be in such great spirits about it.
God brought us all together. He's faithful.
Because truly it was a blessed experience.
With all the ingredients gathered, the recipe complete, the meal is ready. A family of 4 turned into a family of 6 reflects on the gifts they've given and received.
Because it's so life-giving. And what's happening in the flesh is happening in the spirit. And my husband was given life, Nick was given life, and though Jessica gave a kidney and George gave a kidney, the caretakers, the communities, the story, it is producing life that people can feed off of and give more life. It's life-giving. That's why I'm crying. I'm not sad, I'm thankful.
Recovery time after kidney surgery can vary. Each person you just met continues to heal and adjust to a new normal. The need is real, and you or a loved one can be like George and Jessica and help. We have information on the Living Kidney Donation Program at MUSC on our website right now if you'd like to learn more. In the studio, Ashley Bowles, WMBF News.
People are anxious.
Going
Going to the doctor isn't always an easy thing to do. Not knowing who your doctor is or how to get treatment makes it even harder.
About early February, we had patients showing up at our door with stitches in place, and they said that their doctor's office had closed. And so we found out from the patients that the dermatology office down the hall here had closed, and these patients were seeking care.
It was a few weeks later, Dr. Brandon Coakley of Waccamaw Dermatology found out he would be the one to take custody of about 50,000 patient records from the Dermatology and Skin Cancer Center of South Carolina.
And my understanding is that there are tens of thousands of patients with records at this practice, and access to that's really important for ongoing care.
This order from the South Carolina Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation names Coakley as the custodian of records for the shuttered dermatology office. It's the first time the Medical Board of South Carolina has appointed a record custodian since the board was given that authority back in 2016. Coakley says Dermatology and Skin Cancer Center has had an office next to his for about 10 years. Horry County records show the center does have an active business license, but it expires at the end of this month on April 30th. The county confirmed the business license department has issued renewal reminders, but has not received a response. If a response is not received before May 1st, the center will have a delinquent license.
We reached out to that office for patient records, biopsy reports, all that, and we haven't been able to get a response.
I haven't been able to get a response either. The SCLLR order says the center was owned and operated by a Dr. Joseph Massessa, but Massessa died in a plane crash in 2019. After his death, a family member of Massessa's took over the practice. The order says that family member was not a licensed physician in South Carolina. The family member was not named in the order, and neither SCLLR or the SC Medical Board can confirm the name. Right now, patients who call the Dermatology and Skin Cancer Center can't get an answer. If they show up in person, they're greeted by this sign that has numbers for different labs.
Typically, when you go in for a surgery to have a cancer removed, the cancer's cut out, the patient's stitched up, and then you're sent home. But you don't get confirmation that the cancer's all out until a later date when you get the report. So my understanding is that there's patients out there that may have had surgery that don't know if their cancer's gone.
And Dr. Coakley says there isn't a playbook on getting thousands of patients their medical records. While he is relying on other Waccamaw Dermatology staff members to help, he must wait to physically get all the records first.
While I am technically the custodian for all of those records now, I don't have them yet. So we're working as fast as we can, and we're in constant communication with the legal departments of those electronic medical companies to make sure that we can access those records and then provide those to the patients as appropriate.